when this jackass comes out and says anything, all you have to do is play this clip of him praising Joe Biden's mental acuity. Cogent. He's cogent. About 4 months before he pulls out because he's senile.
But comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now. He's cogent.
Cogent.
But I undersold him when I said he was cogent.
Cogent.
He's far beyond
I hate
cogent.
Cogent.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually.
He's talking about Joe Biden.
Analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, you know, I don't know if people know this or not. Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is...
You mean like how he wanted to take Trump out and beat him up behind the alley? I said it multiple times. How he wanted to physically assault his political adversary? Oh, yeah, no. We heard those clips.
And I don't really, you know what? I don't really care. Start your tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
And F you if you can't handle the truth.
But can we F you if you're a pathological, godforsaken liar of the highest order, a paid propagandist with no soul, no conscience, and apparently no fear of the afterlife? Can we put it there, Scarborough?
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it.
Anybody who has to qualify anything they say with that means that they're a liar, period. All right, now get into the fact checks, by the way. So you got your moderators who are not supposed to be fact checking and are spewing lies and then abusing of their on and off switch of the microphone to then silence the man that they just lied to and about. And you go on Twitter today. I'm just picking two random examples, and it's the same shit everywhere. Eliza Orlins. I had to pick the joke because it's a New York public defender since 2009, former candidate for Manhattan District Attorney, appeared on Survivor and Amazing Race. Amazing. She, her, and I believe I'm gonna go make sure that that's Mandarin. It says Meiling. What does that mean? It says Oumeiling. I don't know what that means, but what language is it? Chinese. It's Mandarin. I don't know why she has Chinese. Maybe she's part Chinese, and you know, their insightful analysis. Wow, JD Vance is an absolutely effortless liar, just completely dishonest. Not just intellectually dishonest, but factually dishonest. How can anyone fall for his crap? Meanwhile, Tim Walz is a genuine, wonderful human being. Like, I want to believe that these are not real people, but this person looks like a real person. It's all they ever do. Heather Cox Richardson, historian, author, professor, budding curmudgeon. I study the contrast between image and reality in America, especially in politics. Honorary NAFO fellow. NAFO is a North American fellow organization, a group of pro-Ukrainians who counter Russian disinformation, and they've made their NAFO fellow. I am just so tired of listening to MAGA Republicans lie. Just weary. All right, you'll notice none of them ever give any concrete example, and I can steelman it for them better than they can steelman it for themselves because they're idiots. JD Vance lied when he said that Haitians were eating cats and dogs in Springfield. That's the steelman. He lied. To which I would steelman rebuttal with this: A, it's not a lie because it's a disputed fact. B, it looks to be, at the very least, have occurred and therefore more true than not. But set aside the fact that there's video evidence of people complaining about it to city council meetings. Set aside the fact that Chris Rufo found a video of what appears to be exactly what the accusations were, but it wasn't in Springfield, it was somewhere else. Okay, fine. It's disputed at the very least. But let's assume that it is in fact wrong and that it didn't happen. There is a difference, as I've taught my children, between being wrong and being a liar. You are a liar when you say something that you know is false, or when you assert something that you have no reason to believe to be true. Even if we assume that it has not in fact happened, J.D. Vance was not definitively saying, I saw it with my own eyes, but rather was saying, we're being told by people on the ground that it's happening, and therefore is not asserting anything other than the fact that he has been told by his constituents, because he is running to represent all Americans, that it's happening. To sincerely believe that something has happened because you were told is not a lie, but you might be wrong at the end of the day. In reality, I'm not even convinced that they're going to be wrong at the end of the day. National abortion ban. Well, Trump has come out multiple times and said he would not support a national abortion ban. The Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe v. Wade, was not a national abortion ban whatsoever. It just kicked it down to the state level, which many people have been asking for a long time, which might have been where it ought to have been regardless from the get-go, because Roe v. Wade was a judicially questionable decision in the first place. Oh, but J.D. Vance says that he thinks abortion should be banned nationally. All right, good. JD's allowed to have his own opinions. It doesn't mean he's lying when he says that they won't support a national abortion ban. All right. One person came out and actually fact-checked yesterday. This is why they don't do it, by the way. They don't do it because the reasonably smart people out there are going to serve their asses to them before breakfast. Michael Thomas, curious_founder. I write stories and make videos about climate change. Oh, okay. Well, that might explain a lot. Fact check. But J.D. Vance said that the majority of the solar panels are coming from China. Fact check. False, he says. Fact check. Literally, none of our solar panels are coming from China. And then he shows a graph. I'm not even going to deny the graph. The graph says, looks like the majority of them are coming from Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, and then you got India in purple. Maybe J.D. Vance misspoke and he meant Asia and not China. Maybe. But then I also remember the amount of solar market-wise that China is responsible for, and I had to go fact check the fact checker myself, which I did. And lo and behold, he's wrong. He's wrong. He's an idiot. And it literally took me less than 4 minutes to prove why. Here's an article. The flood of imported PV panels, which far exceeded domestic production capacity and installations in 2023, comes as the U.S. seeks to stimulate American-made PV with valuable tax credits in the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Some industry representatives and consultants say reliance on imports combined with a global module glut and plummeting prices are jeopardizing domestic factories, and they are calling for greater U.S. trade protections and policy. Linked largely to China-based companies operating in Southeast Asia, booming imports, quote, suggest that despite all U.S. rhetoric and investments, extreme dependence on Chinese PV inputs continues to grow, said Émilie de la Bruyère, co-founder of Horizon Advisories, a consulting agency. Oh, look at this from another article. This is from an S&P article. PV shipments to the U.S. have been growing since President Joe Biden granted a 2-year moratorium in June 2022 on anti-dumping and anti-circumvention tariffs to crystalline silicon solar cells and modules from Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Biden's waiver remains in effect despite a U.S. Commerce Department determination in August 2023 that certain Chinese PV producers were routing their supply chains through these 4 Asian countries to avoid tariffs on imports from China. And then we go back here and you can see like top 10 producing whatever. China's like just way out in the front, and China produces 77.8% of the world's solar panels. So, it takes about 5 seconds to find out that Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. Oh, look at that. The first 4 that this jackass says are the ones where we get all of our solar stuff from. Lo and behold, China circumventing tariffs by routing their supply through there. So, Michael, I fact check you, sir, and you are fact checked wrong. And then he took the opportunity to promote his garbage work. If his garbage work is anything as good as this garbage fact check, nobody should be following Michael Thomas and whatever curious_founder. Wrong, and wrong. And congratulations, you're stupid in 4 countries. They accuse the Republicans of lying. They never show one piece of evidence. And whenever they do, they'll get their asses handed to them because they are allergic to the truth.